Hi everyone and welcome to Left on Red. My name is Red and this is r/Storiesaboutkevin. Our first story today is by The Art of Dodging. My Neighbor Kevin, a highlight reel. So about 2 years ago, I moved into my boyfriend's flat and became slowly aware that Kevins actually walk among us. My boyfriend is a bit of a weird people magnet, and thus this Kevin naturally sought him out to help him with the most basic things. You know what, OP? Your boyfriend and I have that in common. Here are a few highlights. Kevin lived at home and didn't have a job until he was at least 30. Kevin's elderly mother comes over at least once a week to clean and cook for him. Kevin has known my boyfriend for at least 5 years. Kevin calls my boyfriend Robin. My boyfriend is not named Robin. My boyfriend has told Kevin that he's not named Robin several times. This does not help. I have lived here for 2 years. Kevin exclusively refers to me as girl. Kevin is a very friendly person, but doesn't get social cues at all, and will regularly corner people who are clearly rushing out to work in the morning to have completely pointless conversations. Our building is across the street from a middle school. Kevin, a 45-year-old man, does not understand why he can't hang around outside the school and strike up conversations with female students. Kevin wanted to run a cable from his phone jack to his router, and instead of running it along the wall or a ledge, Kevin decided to secure it with large nails in a zigzag pattern all over the living room. Kevin asks my boyfriend to help him with his computer at least once a month. The problem is always a virus he got when downloading naughty films. When my boyfriend tries to fix Kevin's computer, he always has to start by closing multiple tabs of naughty films still open on the computer. Kevin forgets how to operate his own coffee maker at least once a week. Despite all this, Kevin somehow has a valid driver's license and a car, which he has not killed anyone with yet. Our next story is by Queen Irmegaard. Kevin the Engineer. I've lurked this sub for a while now, laughing and being thankful I'm not responsible for these people. But I've just connected the dots. My coworker is definitely a Kevin, and unfortunately, I'm partially responsible for him. I'm a scientist and work with a group of other scientists, and Kevin is our engineer. Engineers represent the ideal blend of book smarts and street smarts, right? Wrong. I have no idea how Kevin got his degree or survived past 25. And I'm mildly annoyed at myself for not noticing his rampant idiocy before hiring him on. But alas, he has been hired and has worked here for almost a year. So, here are the standout stories so far in no particular order. Kevin can't count. One of the tasks we assigned to Kevin's feeble mind was serializing some equipment. There are 40 identical metal parts which needed numbers 1 to 40 engraved on them. It took him an entire day somehow, but he got the job done. He said it took so long because he wanted to do the job correctly. The next day, he was out of the office. My other coworker and I used the parts in our production process, and we realized there were 2 parts marked number 27. There were no parts marked number 38. There was a number 41 somehow. We did end up roasting him about this over work group chat while he was away at the dentist. Kevin makes hot pockets. Kevin has a food-centric worldview and has attended many a lunch meetings that is irrelevant to him because of the opportunity for food. He had a carton of Hot Pockets, bros, sent to our building and had been heating them up for snacks. One time, I was misfortunate enough to be there for the Hot Pocket ritual. Firstly, Kevin chose the toaster, not the toaster oven or microwave, to do the job. Secondly, it took him upwards of 8 minutes to figure out how to work the toaster. Mind you, the toaster has one knob and was already plugged in. I almost helped him out after the first few minutes, but my other co-workers and I chose to observe his stupidity instead. One knob, and at the end of it all, it created a molten burning cheese mess inside the toaster. He did not clean it up. Kevin doesn't know how to spell his own name. At our company, we have a logging system for purchasing where we enter our name, the vendor, and the amount purchased. Kevin has repeatedly omitted and switched letters in his own name, and I opened the file to see Kevin last name. He also tried to initial a training log once and wrote his initials upside down. He claimed he got confused. Alright guys, I have to be honest here. I'm feeling really bad for these Kevins. So before I go on further, do you like this subreddit? Do you want me to go over Kevin's stories in the future? Because I'm feeling slightly sad. What do you guys think? Sound off in the comments below. Anyways, continuing on with this Kevin's story. Kevin goes to the dentist. Kevin requested 2 days off of work for a dentist appointment. We assumed it was a surgical procedure like getting wisdom teeth out. Half day for the procedure, 1.5 days to recover seems reasonable. Nope, it was a checkup. Kevin used to live 400 miles from our city and relocated for his job with us, and he flew back to his hometown to go to the dentist. He said it would be easier and make more sense because he has invisible braces. I'm still confused about this one. Kevin uses a coffee maker. At work, we have one of those coffee makers where you insert a disposable pod and make a single cup. I tend to avoid them because I don't hate the earth, but many people enjoy the convenience. Kevin went to make his cup and realized the water level was low, so the machine wouldn't let him. The pod coffee makers break if we heat the hard water straight from the sink, so we fill them with filtered water. Kevin looked at the 2 large containers of filtered water by the sink that pour water quickly and instead chose the container of filtered water inside the fridge. We have this since sometimes it's nice to have ice-cold water to drink after a long job in the lab shop, which pours very slowly. Kevin crouched uncomfortably in front of the open fridge, filling the coffee reservoir with cold water for an excruciatingly long time, while he could have used the room temperature water and done it in seconds. And yes, it took another long period of time to get his cup of joe because the water had to heat up 20 more degrees to get to 100 degrees Celsius than if he had chosen the reasonable route. Kevin doesn't understand basic human reasoning or engineering. We have a chemical process at work where materials have to react over the weekend in a chamber connected to a gas line. All we have to do is connect the gas tank to the chamber using a plastic tube, open the tank, and blammo, done. We currently have 2 chambers and 6 tanks. Kevin has connected a single tank to both chambers and is mystified when the gas tank runs over the weekend, ruining the product. So, we have been suggesting the same idea for months. Connect tank A directly to chamber A. Connect tank B directly to chamber B. It takes more than 1 tank sometimes to last 2+ days for multiple chambers. But if there's only 1 chamber connected, it's fine. Kevin again brought up the problem of gas running out, and we suggested the idea. He was beyond confused again and suggested an incredibly complicated system involving one-way valves. His idea was too incoherent to make sense, but I believe it would still connect tank A to both chambers A and B. I'm not sure why he still refuses to connect each tank. He claims it doesn't make any sense. I'm not sure how else to explain it besides drawing a diagram of the setup that literally consists of 2 parallel lines. That's all I can remember for tonight. Hope you all enjoyed my first post here. I would feel bad about making fun of this guy, but he is very well off financially and still thinks highly of himself, not seeming to realize how blindly idiotic he is. Ignorance is bliss, I guess. Wow, I don't know how to feel about that one, but to I guess help me decide, the OP made another post regarding this very Kevin the engineer. So here is Kevin the engineer, part 2. Measure once, cut twice. Kevin was cutting some aluminum parts for a new fixture the team was installing. The parts were supposed to be 6 feet, 1.8 meters, and Kevin cut them to be 6 inches, 15 centimeter. I would think the relative distance would be enough to raise some red flags when cutting, but oh well. Kevin realized his mistake, returned to the drawing board with new materials, and cut the aluminum a second time. He cut them to be 6 inches again. Magical jumping cords. There was a piece of equipment that was received, worked for a day, and stopped working. The manufacturer agreed to send a replacement. I was not on site the day the new one was received, trying to work from home as much as I can amid the current crisis. Kevin said he would set it up because he wanted to play around with it and he wanted to push the buttons. I felt nervous knowing his history of idiocy, and I had set up the first one and wanted to do it myself. I already knew how, but I shut my mouth because it wasn't an especially fragile equipment. And what was the worst that could happen? I came in early the next day to my boss telling me that something was wrong with the equipment. Electrical tape was all wrapped around the power cord. Kevin had used large scissors to cut open the little box the power cord came in, cut the cord, and made a weird attempt to solder the wires together and tape it up. Clearly, it didn't work. Kevin's excuse? The cord just jumped in front of the scissors. Okay. Wow. 100 of each, so 100 total. This one might be self-explanatory. We were in a meeting. Boss told Kevin to manufacture 100 parts each of 4 different types. Kevin kept saying, so 100 total? The rest of us kept reiterating that was not what the word total meant. I think he was planning to produce 25 of each type, and our boss and my other co-workers kept saying, no, 100 of each type. And Kevin ended it with, yes, 100 of each type, so 100 total. Like it was the most obvious thing in the world. I don't understand. The possible impossible task. Again in the meeting, I was presenting some data. I have been working on how to quantify something, tried a bunch of different techniques and approaches, and knew there were differences but couldn't get reproducible numbers that showed the difference and could be integrated into quality control. The point of my presentation was here are all the things I tried, none of them have worked. I'm still trying to figure out a way for this to happen. Here are the things I have planned. Any suggestions? Welcome. People suggested some different things. I added them to my to-do list. As of yet, we had exhausted all obvious and even creative possibilities and had a whole discussion about it. And then, about 30 minutes later, Kevin says, so, do we have a way to do dash thing yet? Cue everyone else in the Zoom meeting visibly face-palming. The meeting was about not having a way to do the thing. Didn't see the red ones. one of the main parts we manufacture has items of different colors. Without revealing too much, there are some brown, yellow subparts, a green one, and a red one. The red one is very obvious since it is bright red, and the rest are lighter or earth tones kind of colors. Kevin literally manufactured 500 assemblies with 2 red parts, omitting another yellow one that also needed to be there and didn't notice. Kevin has been making these for almost a year now, and they have always had one single red component. I could see mixing up some of the yellow ones, but how does someone not catch this? We asked him about it, and of course he said, "I have no idea." Icing on the cake, a couple weeks later, he switched the position of the red and the green parts and also had no clue why the universe made him mess it up. Hope everyone enjoyed the update. I really hope we replace this guy with someone slightly competent soon. Wow, OP, even though I empathize with you a lot, I can't help but feel bad for poor Kevin. I want to give both of you hugs, but for very different reasons. Like, I feel sorry for you because the whole situation is so annoying. But I also want to give Kevin a hug because I feel bad for him too. What do you guys think? These stories are absolutely funny, and I could not help but to start laughing while I was reading them. So yes, they are very funny, but I also feel sorry for these subjects, these Kevins. So should I cover these stories? Do you like them? Let me know in the comments. And that was Stories About Kevin. And this is Left on Red. My name is Red, and if you like this video, please like and subscribe. And also, don't forget to press the bell notification button so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. Bye!